I'm Tom Brokaw, NBC News, and in 1984 I went to the beaches of Normandy to produce a documentary on the 40th anniversary of D-Day. It was, for me, a life-changing experience. It led to the writing of the book called The Greatest Generation. More importantly for me personally, it was also the beginning of a long and deep relationship with a man who landed on D-Day in June 1944. He was one of the boys at Pointe du Hoc, my dear friend, Bud Lamell. Leonard G. Bud Lamell has been selected to receive the Ocean County College Foundation's most prestigious honor, the Humanitarian of the Year Award. A man of courage and conviction, Bud is a highly decorated former United States Army Ranger who served during World War II. He is best known for his heroic actions in the first hours of D-Day, in the Battle of Normandy, and for his bravery in the Battle of Hurtgen Forest. But Bud's story begins much earlier. He was born in 1920 and adopted as an infant by Scandinavian immigrant parents living in Brooklyn, New York. Bud lived an unassuming childhood, but grew up to become one of America's greatest war heroes. The family relocated to Point Pleasant, New Jersey, where Bud graduated from Point Pleasant Beach High School in 1937. Despite hard times during the Great Depression, Bud managed to attend college on an athletic scholarship and work program, graduating from Tennessee Wesleyan College in 1941. For the next year, Bud worked as a brakeman on a freight train for the Jersey Central Railroad. And it was during this time that he would meet his future wife, Charlotte Yort. However, Bud and Charlotte's romance would have to wait. As war raged on in Europe and the Pacific, Bud enlisted in the U.S. Army on June 13, 1942. He first served with the 76th Infantry Division and then volunteered to serve in the new Ranger Army Battalion.
I didn't volunteer for the Rangers. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. They came after me. No, this is God's honest truth. I was in the 76th Division, and I was a platoon sergeant of the Intelligence and Reconnaissance Platoon. And they asked me if I would like to be a Ranger. And my company commander sat there, and I said, well, and this is exactly what I said. How much is the pay? I have a mother and father that are very old and dependent solely on me. I need to know how much money I'm going to make. And as far as I'm concerned, either you, General, or they want me, or the 76th that want me. Whoever pays me the top dollar gets me. It's that simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this program to bring you a special broadcast.
This is George Hicks speaking. I'm now speaking from the tower above the signal bridge of an American naval flagship. And we're lying some few miles off the coast of France, where the invasion of Europe has begun. It is now 20 minutes to 6.
He was just 24 years old when Bud first showed his courage and leadership as acting platoon leader of the 2nd Ranger Battalion's Company D in the first hours of the war's most horrendous battle. He and his men scaled the now famous cliffs at Pointe du Hoc. Pointe du Hoc was the site of the German Army's largest cache of coastal weapons, concealed in an orchard. The guns were prepared to fire on tens of thousands of troops landing on Omaha Beach and Utah Beach. Bud and one of his fellow Rangers located and swiftly disabled all 5 big guns. For this act of heroism, historian Stephen Ambrose gave great credit to Bud Lamell for helping make Normandy possible. In the Battle of Hurtgen Forest, at a place known as Hill 400, or Castle Hill, Bud Lamell, newly commissioned as a 2nd lieutenant, personally attacked a German weapon shelter and drove the enemy to surrender. For this act, historians have praised his courage and judgment under fire. During the course of the war, Bud was wounded 3 times, the last during the Battle of the Bulge, where in the dead of winter in December 1944, almost 200,000 German and American troops lost their lives. The following spring, Germany was defeated, and by summer's end, Japan had surrendered. The greatest war in the history of mankind came to an end. Bud was subsequently discharged on December 30th, 1945. Returning home from the war, Bud began civilian life, picking up where he left off with his sweetheart, Charlotte. The couple was married on June 6, 1946, the anniversary of D-Day. Bud immediately set to work building a future for his growing family. He studied law at LaSalle University and Rutgers University, passing the bar in 1951. Bud would later become the founder and senior member of the Lomell law firm. After a long and successful career, he retired in the mid-1980s. During their 63 years of marriage, Bud and his wife raised 3 daughters, Georgine, Pauline, and Renee. In 1964, Bud and Charlotte were happy to welcome their niece and nephew, Elizabeth and Jay Bergson, into their loving home after Charlotte's sister Jean passed away. While building a thriving law practice and raising a family, Bud took a keen interest in music, art, history, and education. A former member of the Ocean County College Foundation Board of Trustees and the Dover Township Board of Education, Bud was a co-founder of the Garden State Philharmonic Symphony, director of the Ocean County Historical Society, and a trustee of the Colonel Waterhouse Museum. A man of strong convictions and faith, Bud devoted 35 years to Christ Episcopal Church as legal counsel and vestry board member. Although civilian life suited Bud, he remained dedicated to his country and to his fellow veterans. He was the first post commander of the Point Pleasant Veterans of Foreign Wars, a member of the French Committee of Pointe du Hoc, and past president of the Legion of Valor and the Ranger Battalion Association of World War II. From the moment Bud entered the armed forces, he was destined to achieve greatness and, in his own way, military immortality. For his heroic actions at Pointe du Hoc, Bud received the U.S. Army's Distinguished Service Cross, the Bronze Star, the British Military Medal, and the French Legion of Honor. His later heroism at Hill 400 earned him the Silver Star. The honors continued in 1994. Bud was inducted into the Ranger Hall of Fame. In 1999, the borough of Point Pleasant Beach dedicated a monument to him at its Veterans Park with a replica of the grapnel hook used by the Rangers at Pointe du Hoc. This was a particularly touching honor for Bud since the grapnel hook was donated by the residents of Grand-Comte-Mézy, France, in honor of his contributions during the war. Bud's lifelong philanthropic contributions have earned him 3 honorary degrees from his alma mater, Tennessee Wesleyan College, Monmouth University, and most recently, from Ocean County College. I suppose I shouldn't have favorite members of the Greatest Generation, but there will always be a very large part of my heart reserved for Bud and Charlotte. Because in the Greatest Generation, they go well beyond the heroics of that June day in 1944 or what happened later at the Battle of the Bulge, or even the life that they began together in New Jersey and raising those 3 remarkable daughters. Bud and Charlotte are emblematic of the Greatest Generation because every waking day of their lives, they were also great citizens, contributing so much to the community in so many ways.